know the rest. They tried to count me out, I'ma gon' count me in. Fill up my bank account, now I got something to spend. They tried to count me out, I'ma gon' count me in. Fill up my bank account, now I got something to spend.
Alright, cool beans. Hope you guys enjoyed that small montage. I'm Hex. I'm finally going to be going over my updated MagSorc build for the Necrom chapter update. Just to get it out of the way, MagSorc is my baby. I love MagSorc. MagSorc is the first class I made back on day one console release. So my most muscle memory comes from MagSorc. And let's just say MagSorc now is very, very rough for 1vx. If you're running in a group or Zergan, MagSorc is one of the best, if not the best, to run. Because what identifies a MagSorc is that you are able to burst someone into Oblivion from a mile away. It is ridiculous, and you have some of the greatest pre-placed burst combo. Like, it's unbelievable. Not only do you have crazy range and damage, you have some crazy tankiness with this build and some amazing sustain. But how exactly we get this strong build? In order to stick around to the end, I'll show you exactly how. But before we get started, quick announcement. I have finally made the swap to PC. Yes, I finally made the swap to PC. I will be posting my updated build videos on console until I catch up my PC. My PC count is brand new, made to level 15, I think. It's gonna be a grind, learning mouse and keyboard. It's so if you guys ever want to see me play on PC, follow me on Twitch. I'm streaming the whole process of grinding from 0 to hero, from level 1 all the way to 2200 max, or whatever max CP I need and all the gear I need. Should be definitely be a fun ride. But as always, if you guys can hit the subscribe and like button, really goes a long way and I greatly do appreciate it. Also support me on Patreon if you ever want to choose the first video of every month, or even possibly the middle video of every month. Support me there. Obviously follow me on Twitch on Hexapod. But without further ado, let's streak our way into the build. Okay, so first skill we do run is Haunting Curse. Obviously, this is really good for setting up the burst. After 3.5 seconds, it blows up, does AoE damage too for reduced damage. Next is obviously Streak. This is the class-defining skill of a Sorc. When you think of a Sorc, you think of them instantly teleporting away, and this morph is the one where we do damage and stun them for 3 seconds. Now, this is where I get frustrated with this skill. This skill is unblockable, undodgeable, and it's a 3-second stun. What is wrong here? I remember back in the day, this thing was blockable and it's stunned for like 1.5 seconds at max. That was it. Now it's double the duration and it's unblockable. Like, well, what's the counterplay? Next skill is what I would consider your flex spot. I here have Endless Fury. You could run either morph. Obviously, this is our pre-placed execute. But I like this morph is that it makes the ability cheaper, plus you get almost 5k mag if the opponent dies after 5 seconds of being hit. They don't even have to die to this. As long as you hit them with this and then someone else gets to kill, you get the mag back, which is crazy. Now the other thing is, if you don't want to run that, because I understand you don't want to run the executes, it's kind of a little out of date, you could run Elissus. Honestly, Elissus would be perfect there. Put Elissus, now you got penetration, especially for your group, do a lot of damage to that target. Either one's fine. I prefer Endless Fury. Just the combo just feels great when you pull that combo off. Next is Crushing Shock. This is obviously just spammable. I like run this morph, please. Don't run the other morph. Why would you ever run the other morph? This one you can stun targets and set them off balance if they're casting. So you can interrupt a dark deal. You can interrupt a res. You can interrupt people off siege. Like, why wouldn't you want to run this morph? Next skill is our Crystal Frags. This is another bread and butter of a Sorc. The thing is, you don't want to cast this. Don't ever hard cast this. Hard cast means you just cast it. You want to proc this. So whenever you have this ability slotted, casting another ability that costs mag, health, or stam, kind of crazy. It only used to be mag. You have basically a 1/3 of a chance to proc a C frag, a crystal frag, making it do 66% bonus damage, costs half the mag, and it's instant. That's what you want to go off. You basically set up your combo with Curse, Execute, drop an ulti, and hopefully by these two abilities you'll proc your frags, or maybe you'll streak through the target and then proc your frag. Then you turn and burn with the frag, and it just goes off at once, and it's so much damage. Next is for ulti is Energy Overload. Honestly, this is a really good ultimate. This is actually really fun. Basically, when you activate, it's a toggle. So activate this, and you make your light attacks deal bonus damage. Yes, look at that, 85-20 unbuffed, which is kind of crazy. I like this morph because of the sustain. When you have this morph up, when you complete a heavy attack or a light attack, you restore 1200 mag and stam, which is unbelievable. So that way, if we're drained of resources, we can cast a skill, do a lot of damage, and get a lot of recuv. Like, it's insane. I don't really recommend the other morph. It does more damage, but that sustain, you can't put a price on it. Obviously, some alternatives. You could put Shooting Star there, obviously. You could put on, what is it? You could put Dawnbreaker on there, obviously. It's up to you what you want to run there. I like this one. It's really fun, really cheap, and you can store up a lot of this. For our back bar, we do run Hardened Ward. This is the tankiness of a Sorc. Basically putting up a shield, and these things used to cost like 2k mag. They're expensive now. Wow. Next is Dampen Magic. This is our other, I guess, poor man's ward. Yeah, I guess, because anyone can run this ward. This is basically the light armor ward. It is abysmal, almost 4k mag and a little over 6k shield in PvP. Like, what? I used to run the other morph and get like a 10k shield. Oh, times have definitely changed. Next is what I would consider your flex spot again. This determines what pots you're gonna run. So there's two pots. You can either run tripods or you can run spell crit with spell damage pots. If you run Resolving Vigor, then you will have to run spell damage and spell crit pots. Okay. And the thing about like Resolving Vigor, you get that burst hot, and you get tankiness. So that's what I like about it. But if you say you want to run tripods, or you prefer crit surge, you can put crit surge in there, and now you're able to run tripods and get that burst of everything and recover of everything. Honestly, up to you. For beginner play, I would put crit surge and then use tripods. But for more advanced player, I would use spell drop pots with Resolving Vigor. Tankiness and healing, like what more do you want in this skill? Next skill is Dark Conversion. This is basically our sustain slash emergency-ish heal, maybe could save you. Gives you a burst of resources and resources over time, which is really nice. And as of this patch, when you complete the exchange, you get Minor Berserk for 20 seconds. Yes, so you can basically have permanent Minor Berserk on a Sorc now, which is just insane to think about. And for our last skill, we do run Healing Ward. This is another side of a skill that got nerfed into Oblivion. This is basically what's going to round off our shield build, like our shield stacking. This is basically another shield. The thing is, while the shield persists, you heal for 35% of the shield. So let's say you get a 10k shield, just for easy math. Every second, you're going to be healing for 3,500. The thing is, if you get a 10k shield, but it drops to 100 and it's at 100, well, you're only going to heal 35 health. And for our last skill, we do run Temporal Guard. Obviously, this is just for the passive. While slotted, you get minor protection. Alright, but enough of that. Let's go with the stat sheets. So for the stat sheets, there are two possible stat sheets you could have. If you're more of a beginner player, I would recommend tripods with crit surge, but if you're more of an advanced player, and the one we'll be going over is with the vigor and spell drop pots, so when they give spell crit and spell damage. So let's just pop our pot real quick. There we go. Max mag over 37.3k. That's really juicy. Max health just shy of 28k. Actually can go up when we pop a ward. There you go, just shy of 30k now. Max damage also just shy of 20k, and our mag recover is at 1317. Might look low, but you have to realize we're a sorcerer with Dark Conversion. Our sustain comes from our stam. Look at that, beautiful. We also are expecting to reduce mag cost from our ratio passive and our jewelry. And if that wasn't enough, we also do have a CP that increases our mag and stam recover when we're in combat with the negative effect on us. Our stam recover might also look low, but it can go up to like 800 plus when we proc one certain CP. Now our spell damage fully proc, we have to be in PvP to proc a certain set. There it is. I'm pretty sure you know what it is. Don't know? Stick around to the sets. I'll explain exactly what it is. Spell damage over 4100, really nice. Might look a little low, but you have to realize we're spec'd heavily into max mag on this build. Our physical and spell pen over 12k, really nice. We also do have access to minor breach on the build, which is equivalent to almost 3k pen. So basically you'll have almost 15k possible pen on this build. And for our resist on our back bar real quick, 3200 spell resist and over 2600 physical resist, and our crit resist over 3700. That's over like basically 58% damage reduction for the bonus damage of crits. That is insane. And then you may be wondering, what is our armor buff? We didn't pop an armor buff. Well, I do have an armor buff. It comes from a certain set we're running. There you go, Major Resolve. It's on the build, trust me. Stick around to the sets and I'll show you exactly how we get this. But we do have it, don't worry. And for the attributes, we do have 64 points in the mag. I'm kind of going old school in this build, and I wanted to bump up all the max mag as possible to bump up our shield as much as possible. Oh, almost forgot our spell crit. Let's check out our spell crit on our front bar real quick. Spell crit 43%. What is this? Oh, you know me, you know I love crit. So for this build, we do run the Thief. You know me, you know that I love crit. The thing is, on this build, I think you're perfectly fine without the Thief. If you want more sustain, go the Atro. Want bigger shield and damage? Go the Mage. Go the Thief. Go the Shadow if you want more damage. Or even you can honestly go any Mundus on here, to be honest. I might swap this. And for obviously we are a stage 3 vampire. For one simple passive. Undead. The lower health we are, the tankier we become. And for my race, I am a Breton. Honestly, in my opinion, Breton is hands down the best open world mag race out there. We get access to Gift of Madness, increase our max mag by 2k. Spell with 2 minutes, increase our spell resistance by over 2300. And is doubled if afflicted with burning, chilled, or concussed. And with all the mag DKs and LE stuff running around, we're basically gonna have permanent uptime on this. So over 4600 spell resist and a passive on top of passive. Just 130 mag recoup. Just here you go for free. Don't even have to think. But most importantly, Magicka Mastery reduces the mag cost of all our abilities by 7%. This basically almost negates the fact that we are a stage 3 vampire right here. Really, really good. You can just tell that Bretons are so invested in mag and mag recup and sustain. Like, it's crazy. Some great alternatives. Khajiit would be perfect for this build. We do have high crit. High elf and dark elf could be okay. Anything else I'd kind of maybe stay away from, to be honest. Alright, but enough of that. Let's go over the sets now. Alright, so for the first set, our Lord and Savior, Rallying Cry. I mean, Rallying Cry needs no introduction, but for those that just don't understand or don't know what it is, I mean, 2 lines of spell crit already got me sold. The 5-piece, being able to get up to 300 weapon spell damage and 1650 crit resist. That's 25% damage reduction from the bonus damage of crits. This is back barrable, gives you damage and tankiness, and if you wanted to, you can give it to allies for a reduced potency. Like, what more do you want from a set? Okay, so for our monster set, we do run, obviously, Mighty Chudons. This is how we get our Major Resolve on the build, basically giving us our 6k armor buff. Almost 1500 armor, really nice. We can never say no to tankiness. 1200 health, always can say yes to health. And basically Major Resolve, giving our major buffs. So the power of this set is that we don't have to slot Boundless Storm anymore. We're able to use that slot for another skill. So think of this monster set as another skill, like being able to get more sustain from Dark Deal, or being able to get a burst heal with tankiness with Resolving Vigor, because we wouldn't be able to run this Resolving Vigor or Dark Conversion without this monster set. So think of the power of this set granting you one of those bonuses, if that makes any sense. So we do run One Piece Mythic, obviously, because this is a meta front bar, back bar setup with the Mythic. Why One Piece training? Because it does give us the most max health for One Piece. But what Mythic do we run? Good old Markin Ring of Majesty. Now you might be saying, well, Hex, why won't you run Death Dealers? I'll explain in a little bit. Death Dealers is good, but let me go over Markin real quick. Put this exact build together. You get 200 weapon and spell damage and over 2300 armor. Just here you go for free, and don't even have to think. But obviously, if you want to run Death Dealers, you can, or if you want to run Sea Serpents to do a lot of damage, perfectly fine. And for our main set, we do run an oldie but a goodie, Spinners. I mean, Spinners has been around since the dawn of time, since one Tamriel, and honestly, it is here to stay as a force to be reckoned with. The good thing about Spinners is that 2 to 3 piece, 2 lines of mag. The cool thing about that, look, if I bar swap, I still keep that 2 lines of mag for my back bar shields, which is just beautiful. And then when I go to my front bar, I get a line of weapon spell damage and penetration, really good for the front bar. So just an overall really, really good set. So we run it. So for the front bar, we do run a Spinner's Inferno Staff. As of this patch, Inferno with an Azor Stam enchant. Really good for the damage, and it's also really, really good for the stamp sustain. But the main reason is also to be able to proc Minor Breach, putting almost 3k armor shot on the target. And obviously Sharpen, because in PvP, penetration is keen. And for the back part, we do run a Rallying Cry Resto with the Prismatic Onslaught enchant and defending, because tankiness is next to godliness. You could run an ice staff if you want for the block mitigation and block cost reduction. I just like resto because it just feels nice being able to get more mag from your heavies, being able to get on-demand major mending. Plus, it's just so much easier and feels nice to weave in those heavies from a resto, to be honest. But if you want an ice staff, go ahead. And for the body, we do run 5-1-1. I know it's been a while since we ran 5-1-1. So we do run 5 light, 1 medium, 1 heavy. So the reason we run 5 light is because our certain skill, Dampen Magic, or the other morph, they need 5 light at minimum to be able to be casted. Because if you have 4 light, you're not going to be able to cast the skill at all. So that's the reason we run that. Plus, it's really good. It gets a lot of penetration and crit. So the way we run it, we do run a light helm of Mighty Chudon, a heavy chest of the training, medium shoulders of Mighty Chudon, a light sash and hands of Rallying Cry, and light legs and feet of Spinners. If you can, trax out all the pieces. And if you can't do that, trax out the big pieces. What I mean by that is head, chest, and legs. And if you can't do that, max mag is perfectly fine on this build. Just add a few health, like maybe like 20 points in the health. And for the traits, typical 6 M pen, 1 reinforce. Yes, 6 M pen, 1 reinforce. The only reinforce I ever have is a heavy chest of the training reinforce, and the rest M pen. Now you might be asking, Hex, you already have Rallying Cry. Why would you want more M pen? You have to realize that players do have access to be able to bump up their crit with the Shadow, CP, Axes, Orders, Wrath, Gormans. So, but if you want more well-fitted or divines, obviously go ahead. That's what I like about builds. We fit to our playstyle. And for the jewelry, we do run a Rallying Cry neck, Spinner's ring, and a Markin Ring of Majesty because it only comes in a ring. Duh. For the traits, if you can, go all arcane, and the perfect balance I found was 1 mag recov, 1 reduced mag cost, and 1 weapon spell damage, preferably grants mag recov, but obviously if you have it with stand recov, I mean you could go 2 reduced mag cost or all mag recov, to be honest. I just had this because my Rallying Cry neck already came with the mag recov, and I was like, or free enchant, I mean, I don't have to change it. It's already golded out. And for the food, good old Bewitched Sugar Skulls. This is basically the gold version of the tri-stack. Gives a lot of max health and max of everything. Bunch of max stam and max mag. And if you want to hear a joke, also grants some health recov. Obviously the purple version, I think it's called like Longfish Pastry. Perfectly fine. But if you feel like you want more sustain from your food, you could run Jewels of Mistral. Gives a lot of max health and recov of everything. Or the gold version of it. Or Zaka, Smoke Bear Haunch. Gives you about 400 more max health compared to Jewels of Mistral. And slight more recov. And for the pots, depending on what you're running, if you are more of an advanced player and running Resolve and Vigor, then align spell drop pots or spell crit with spell damage. Or if you're more of a beginner player using Crit Surge, then try pots. Alright, but enough of that. Let's go over the CP now. Alright, so for the blue CP, we do run Fighting Finesse, increases critical damage, critical healing. Mastered Arms, increases our damage done with direct damage attacks. Ironclad, reduces our damage taken from direct damage attacks. And Arcane Supremacy, increases our max mag by 1300. For our red CP, we do run Celerity, increases our move speed by 10%. Honestly, in my opinion, the best CP in the entire game. And next we do run Bastion. The reason is because it increases our damage shields by 15%, and it also increases our damage done to enemy shields by 15%. So really good, best of both worlds. We're tankier with our shields, and we do more damage to other shields. Pain's Refuge, the more net effects we have acting on us, the tankier we become. And lastly, Sustained by Suffering. Honestly, I cannot believe I have been sleeping on the CP for so long. And for the green CP, it doesn't ever really matter. Rationer, Liquid Efficiency, Gifted Rider, and Steed's Blessing. But alright, cool beans, that's the build. Hope you guys did enjoy it. Honestly, MagSorc is my baby. I love MagSorc. Anytime I hop on MagSorc, it's like riding a bike. I can never forget it. Just shield stacking is the way I learned MagSorc. Unfortunately, these wards are so crazy dummy expensive now, and like they don't even tank you up anymore. Like you don't even get a full shield anymore. But MagSorc definitely for group play, and Zergen really good 1vx. It's gonna be very rough. But for those that just still stick around to the end of the video, I greatly do appreciate it. If you guys hit the subscribe and like button, it really goes a long way, and I greatly do appreciate it. Also support me on Patreon if you want to choose the first video every month or possibly the middle video every month. And huge announcement, like I said earlier, I am on PC, so if you guys ever wanted to see me struggle on PC, or maybe you're a brand new player and you also want to see ask some questions, now I'll have the perspective of a new player because I'm learning everything. I'm learning on mouse and keyboard, which is that's the hardest part. If I didn't have to learn mouse and keyboard, I could grind through it, but I want to go through the grind of mouse and keyboard because I feel like it'll be worth it in the long run. But anyways, hope you did enjoy the build video. Like the video if you liked it, comment your thoughts, experience with the build. Also, anything I might have missed out, what video I should do next. Subscribe for more, but most importantly, Stay Zergin.